Lowe's knows that saving is always top of mind, especially this season. That's why we've picked some great deals for early Black Friday. Get free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit. More tools? Why not? Plus, we've got select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at $59.98 because it's never too early to think Christmas. Get Black Friday prices without the crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, we're kicking off hour 2 here on Money Moves, VSiN, the sports betting network. And remember, as the official horse racing partner of VSiN, First Bet is built for bettors who demand more. First Bet isn't just about placing a bet, it's about helping bettors of all levels with proprietary AI handicapping tools that provide data-driven insights to help you make smarter bets. First Bet's in-app tools give you win, place, and show probabilities for each runner so you can quickly and easily identify good value plays and improve that ROI. Right now, you can take advantage of the limited time $250 sign-up offer. To claim your bonus, use our promo code VSiN250 when you sign up in the First Bet app or at firstbet.com. That's promo code VSiN250, VSIN250. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you back here on this Wednesday edition of the program. We're live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. On deck coming up this hour, we'll have a little college football West Coast bias. We'll get into a little college hoops. I've got some hockey plays, although yesterday did not go well. Hopefully last night took an L. Today we bounce back. Is that good?
Yes. Where's that from again? Who is that?
Oh, what is the song? Who's the
Big
who
Sean.
sings
Thank
it?
you
Yeah,
very much.
Big,
Yep,
all right.
it.
That's. I think that's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
Maybe.
That's probably not what you were going to say.
Only 4 games on the slate tonight in the NHL.
I'd recommend Big Sean's appearance on Wiz Khalifa's mixtape.
A couple things I want to go through.
Later.
Not going to be at the Neon City Festival, unfortunately.
No.
Who are you really excited about for that?
Waka Flocka.
Waka Flocka. There you go.
Down with that. Again, I would recommend. Do Flocka Ram Volume 2.
Very fun weekend over here, by the way. We're going to kick these off, though, with the NFL. And I know that when we teased this earlier, we called it the Sunday shortlist. Mm-hmm. My pick, yes, did extend into Monday. So I apologize that was one thing that threw a couple of our listeners off when they were making the suggestions to you.
Correct.
How many people did you end up paying for guessing correctly?
I've offered people the dollars that they've guessed correctly, but I've been turned down.
Nobody wants your dollar.
One person took my dollar, so I have offered.
There you go. We'll get to that game in a moment. But I mentioned to you earlier when we were going through that there was some carryover in the games I was interested in.
Yep.
The Colts at Chiefs at the very top of the list for me this week. And especially for you being as in the weeds with Indy as you are, an important game, obviously, for Kansas City at home, coming off of the loss last week. What did you see here?
Well, is it too easy to just grab 3.5 with Indianapolis? So one of the things we should know, the window is open for Charvarius Ward to potentially come back. He's obviously dealing with some personal issues, so I don't know if this will be the week that he returns. But on the off chance that he does, now all of a sudden you're looking at a Colts team that on the edges, when you're looking at the cornerback spots, is night and day from where they were at the start of the year. One of the things that you and I have discussed ad nauseum with Indy before the trade deadline was, hey, look, the secondary really isn't that great. You've had multiple injuries. Now, all of a sudden, I mean, if you look at the cornerback depth chart from week 2 to what it could be here this week if Charvarius Ward potentially comes back, with him, Sauce Gardner, and Kenny Moore, one of the best nickel corners in the National Football League, all of a sudden you're looking at this team like, hey, man, like they actually might be good on defense. And when DeForest Buckner eventually comes back, when his window opens, big picture, they're going to be a competitor. But for this week, he won't be available. So the question just becomes, if we believe in the way that Gardner played out there in Germany, again, obviously a one-game sample size, but we know what the upside can be. And if you're going to be healthy at corner, and we know how good this offense is, you know, are similar to what I just talked about this last week when I said these teams aren't that far away from each other. Why would Kansas City be a 4-point favorite on the road against Denver? This is very clearly a big adjustment where now you're laying 3.5 at home against Indianapolis. But should it still just be shorter? Should you just be throwing up home field, which I have at 1.5, and just say, have at it, every single one of you teams are equals to one another?
I think getting that hook with the Colts is significant. Although the way that you're describing this makes me think you – and I guess if you're taking a short dog like that, there is an implication that you think they can win the game anyways. But, like, sprinkle on the money line, catch your fancy at all here?
Yeah, like I think they can win this game. And I mean, to your, like you said, this is a coin flip essentially. I know it's 3.5, but we're getting close to that territory. Some spots open 4. And it's a big litmus test. Like this is the one for Indy, which is, hey, if you believe in them, This is going to be a big test for you.
Yep.
You should be able to go out and get a vulnerable Chiefs team who cannot win a one-score game to save their lives.
A Chiefs team that also only put up 19 points last week, and I know it's against a very good Denver defense, but if the Colts have made some of the changes and adjustments and getting better in that area the way you say. One other thing, just big picture odds-wise on Kansas City, I wanted to point out. So I saw this stat from ESPN Sports and Information Group. There have been 989 teams in the Super Bowl era to start 5 or 5 and worse. 989. Only 89 have gone on to make the playoffs, 9%. 2 to make the Super Bowl. Only 1 has won it, the 2001 New England Patriots. Yet, the Kansas City Chiefs are minus 185, an odds-on price to make the playoffs. They are 3rd on the board to win the AFC at plus 550, and they are 5th on the board to win the Super Bowl at 10-1. How out of whack are those prices?
I mean, I think they are to an extent because there's clearly the gravity of Patrick Mahomes in those numbers, I would assume. There's also, there's
also liability and other elements of it, too.
There's other elements to that. Statistically, this Chiefs team is probably deserving of a better fate. Like, if you had the same profile of this team and simulated it 1,000 times, would they really be 5-5 at this point? Probably not. They'd probably be better off. So there is that underlying, hey, this team still can get into the postseason, and once they get there, they have a core of guys that is, or has, I should say, has done it before. But I would say that to your overall point here, there is probably it is probably a little too heavy in favor of Kansas City, like to an extent. To what degree, you can decide in terms of how you measure it. But the way that I would look at it, given what this AFC looks like, it sounds like there's a little bit of gravity hanging around what Patrick Mahomes is at this point right now.
And I get their remaining schedule on the surface relatively easy. See what they can do with it. Mm-hmm. But the issues that they've had in one-score games aren't going away. For them being 12-0 in those situations a year ago, they're 0-5 this year.
But now, to that point, it's so weird how things come full circle. We're actually probably coming back to making the same argument we were last year, but just the other way, which is this just can't keep happening. Yeah. Last year we were talking about they just can't keep winning these one-score games. Now this year it is, they can't just keep losing these one-score games.
Maybe they can.
But that's maybe they can. Maybe they can. Maybe we'll just have 2 years of extreme variance for the Kansas City Chiefs. And like you said, look, I think you can maybe say that the schedule's not that hard. The next two games, you're taking on some pretty good offenses in the Colts and the Cowboys. You have one of the best defenses in the NFL that you have to face at home on a Sunday night, who we would assume is going to have their quarterback back. You still have to play the Broncos one more time. I mean, it's not exactly a walkthrough when you look at what they have in front of them the rest of the year.
Okay, we went too long on this game. I want to get to my game
now. I mean, you're the host. You could have gotten us off at any point.
No, it was a good conversation.
Okay, thank you.
The 49ers and Panthers, though, going head-to-head on Monday night in San Francisco. The total on this one, look ahead, was 45.5, reopened 47.5, and is now bet up to 48.5. I got to tell you, I still like the over.
Okay.
The 49ers are just an over team right now.
Do you trust that Carolina is going to do their job? Like, would you rather bet San Francisco's team total over, or do you think the game as a whole?
No, I think that Carolina will do their job because of the defensive injuries that are on San Francisco's side. Okay. And, yes, to your point, I think the 49ers are going to be able to score on this Panthers defense. Now that they're getting healthier and healthier, we've got Brock Purdy back, who, by the way, 73% completions his first game back, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Christian McCaffrey's still Christian McCaffrey. Ricky Pearsall re-injected into the wide receiver room with Juwan Jennings, Demarcus Robinson. George Kittle, I think, is going to be a real matchup problem for the Panthers defense, who have struggled specifically against the position. And then you've got a defense here that is down, as we know, Nick Bosa and Fred Warner for the season, Mykel Williams for the season. Warner's replacement at middle linebacker, Tatum Bethune, high ankle sprain last week. He's expected to miss a few weeks. Yetur Gross-Matos on injured reserve. The list goes on and on there. They are bottom 8 in total yards allowed per game, bottom 5 in pass yards allowed per game, and Bryce Young is coming off his best passing performance of the season.
And Tedero McMillan's coming off of his best performance as a rookie wide receiver as well.
Bing bong. But no, I think we're going to get a lot of points. I know it's a primetime game, and primetime unders and situations are different. Panthers are traveling across the country. I think we're going to get offense.
Okay. I mean, I'm down. It makes a lot of sense. I'm with you. I mean, It's not like the market disagrees with you either. Disagrees to an extent because I bet it up at 45.5. But
49ers, 3 straight overs, And since week 1, 7-2-1 to the over.
Wow.
So keep the trend going. Is the trend your friend? Maybe I need to do that tomorrow.
3 straight games.
You want to do a meaningful or meaningless? No,
Sure.
7-2-1 to the over for since week 1. But I could do that tomorrow. Maybe you want me to put together some trends for you and like really mess with your head.
Sure.
I love giving you conflicting trends too. That's always fun. Hit me with one more.
All right, they're both pretty ugly. Do we want to go with Seahawks Titans or Browns Raiders?
Let's go Seahawks Titans.
I mean, we're betting the Titans here, right? Titans catching 13.5, might get to 14. Total's at 40. You're going to get 14 of the 40.5 points that are available in the game if we assume that the total is correct.
So here's my thing. If the Rams couldn't score on this defense, how do we expect the Titans to?
You might not need them to. I mean, maybe you just kind of hold down a Seahawks team that took a pretty big loss last week. 13 again. We can talk about this. This is crazy.
But if you're betting the Titans, though,
sure.
I feel like you're betting the backdoor angle, and you always tell me that you
I'm not.
don't want.
I think they can stay inside of it. No, I think they can stay inside of 13.5. That's the whole point.
In my mind, I'm like Seattle gets out to a big lead, takes their foot off the gas, and just gets out of it with defense.
Like the backdoor being open is part of it, but I'm not betting these thinking, cool, I'm going to get in the backdoor because, as I always say, whenever we bring that up, then you're betting that the Titans will not be covering at least on your final drive, and then you're going to be putting it up to one drive. No, I think that. Look, the Seahawks are a very highly rated team. It's tough, I think, to go on the road and lay a very big number in a game, which, of course, we know has not that many points projected in it. And a lot of that has to do with the Titans potentially being held down here in terms of their offense being relatively poor. Tennessee is not a great defensive team, but they do have like some strengths up front that you can kind of rely on. I don't know. I think that is a very big number, specifically success rate. They're actually floating around the Steelers area in terms of success rate. They're like 17th or so. In that regard, against the rush, they've shown a little bit more strength up front. So, I don't know, I feel like they can do something here.
I just don't, how are the Titans going to run the football?
It's a very true point. So you're laying 13.5?
I don't know. No, it's okay. We talked about this yesterday. It's okay not to bet a game. You don't have to bet every game.
I'll be recommending this.
You wanted to bring up the Browns and the Raiders.
Oh, I mean, no, I want to bring it up. I want to bet it under.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's an ugly. That says we'll talk about that more with Shador officially getting the start, but that is ugly.
I think that checks. Okay, we got to step aside here on Money Moves. Rolling along here in hour 2 of the program, and remember, as always, if you missed any of the program today, you can always download and find Money Moves wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be right back.
Here for the Lowe's early Black Friday deals? You're right on time for some of our biggest savings. We're talking up to 50% off select major appliances, plus up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Holiday lights going up soon? Select ladders are up to 50% off right now. Get Black Friday prices without the Black Friday crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 11/19. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So before we dive fully into West Coast bias, I don't know if anyone can hear me. Before we dive fully into West Coast bias, there is one game on the West Coast that we started to discuss at the end of last segment that we didn't fully dive into, and I do want to get your thoughts. And I think it counts because it's right here in Las Vegas. The Raiders hosting the Browns coming up this week. We know Shador Sanders is going to get the start in place of the concussed Dillon Gabriel. Why do you like the under as much as you do?
Well, I think you have two faulty offensive lines with two fronts that are going to be able to rush the passer with quite a bit of success. You have Shador Sanders getting the start for Cleveland, who showed a penchant for holding on to the ball a little too long, not dealing with pressure particularly well. One would assume that the Raiders are going to be able to get after him. And on the flip side, I know that Myles Garrett and the Browns are going to be able to get after Geno Smith in this offensive line, which has been putrid. This looks on the surface like a disgusting game where you're not going to get much offense, if any.
It doesn't throw you off of it at all that the total is as low as it is, because we're looking 36.5 right now.
Makes you feel, good, right? These low totals. It's although you and I have sat here and watched some low totals fly over on the Sunday show that we do, so I can understand that. But either way, no, I think that this is a game that looks, what is the cliche? If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. This looks like a duck.
That's kind of how I was feeling about, I know we're going to talk a little bit later about the hockey slate, but that's kind of how I was feeling about the Flames and Sabres game, but I wonder if it's too easy. just the situation that the Flames are in today, because sometimes when it's too easy, it inevitably is the wrong side, right?
Yeah.
Like if it looks that way, probably is. That said, let's get into a little bit of our college football here. Love a little West Coast bias. And listen, East Coasters, we appreciate you. But you're not staying up for the good action late night as often as you should. Actually, though, I told you in a commercial break earlier, we had a great rating for BYU TCU this past weekend.
You did.
Despite it being a 30-point blowout when all was said and done. So.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
The people were watching you.
That's one of those instances where there's nothing else on, and so all of the bars and Mega Bar out here just have every TV on the one game, and so it counts toward the rating.
I'd also like to take some credit for letting the world know about the strongest trend in college football betting history.
13-0, baby. Keep it going.
10-3 ATS. Keep airing the lead.
I do like the Cougars this week as well. I mentioned that on the show yesterday, but BYU at Cincinnati, going money line instead of minus the 2.5, but I feel pretty good about it.
Daring.
Shut up. Shut your whole Wang Chung. How about, actually, I'm going to let you go. What is the game that interests you most on the West Coast?
Well, we already spent a lot of time on Hawaii UNLV, so we can just mention it in passing and say, hey, it's a big one in the race for the Mountain West. So UNLV at home, a short favorite. I believe that they are in danger against Hawaii. Big rivalry spot, Golden Pineapple at stake. So we will see if Hawaii, which I think is going to have a pretty strong contingent of folks out here rooting for them at Allegiant, will be able to pull this off. I think they're live to do so. But actually, it involves a West Coast team, Washington State at James Madison.
Oh, you're so excited to talk about this.
Well, because I'm curious. I mean, so college football is situational all the time. You know, we talk about it, whatever. Mm-hmm. James Madison, a pretty solid favorite here. But we use this at this time of the year all the time. Will James Madison feel the need to run this thing up if they get the opportunity?
Yes.
They're 13.5-point favorites. Some spots are starting to pop at 14. Total's 42.5. Obviously, not much is made and thought of what Washington State's going to do in a game like this. But my question was going to be, screw laying 13.5. Do you lay some of these alt lines thinking that James Madison will run this up if they can?
My only issue with it would be Washington State being as Jekyll and Hyde as they are, but having to make the cross-country trip here and doing all of that other stuff, like that plays into it as well. JMU is much better at home, and they've won more of those games by margin at home. So if you like JMU and you do believe that and you think matchup-wise that works, then 100% I think go that direction, because that's what they're going to want to do. They need to, in some way, shape, or form, separate themselves because the strength of schedule doesn't equate to what those teams in the American do. And Washington State, even though they've been as bad as they are, is still considered like a big Division I program when all is said and done. And I think they'd get a little bit more love for that if they win that at margin. That said, I mean, what the hell is Washington State? I don't know. Like, some days they're getting absolutely torched or losing to Oregon State. Mm-hmm. And then some days they're blowing out San Diego State. So I was going to say,
I think I know what you're loosely referring to here. That was a long time ago. Teams and people change.
So why are we weighing games at the beginning? Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going full CFP on you.
So and this was the excuse to bring this up. Obviously, it's not truly a West Coast bias because this will be at 1 o'clock Eastern time. But I do think that this was a game worth bringing up with the West Coast team, because I am morbidly curious to see if James Madison's going to just kind of make them just absolutely eat dirt and run it up on them, which I think they have the potential to do.
I already mentioned earlier USC at Oregon, how I feel about it. I think USC is going to give Oregon a real run for their money. I get Autzen Stadium has an awesome home field advantage. But what you're telling me, so what do you think home field advantage is at Autzen Stadium? Would you give it field goal 3.5?
I think you're probably in that range, right? It's pretty strong. I think some would maybe make the argument it's like 4, but I think it's in that range for sure.
So on a neutral, do you think Oregon is a touchdown better?
I tend to think what
USC?
You're thinking here. I also am curious as to the market maybe over accounting for USC's struggles on the road, where most of those struggles, though, have happened in conference play when they've had to make those Big Ten trips. And, this is a Big Ten trip. This is more of, obviously, the classic Big 12 trip, where you're not really, or excuse me, a Big Pac-12 trip, where you're just making the trip. Yep, exactly. So I don't think it's as daunting as it would seem on the surface for a USC team that over the last 2 seasons has struggled on the road. I think within context of those road struggles, it makes some sense. I know a lot of people, I didn't really think it was that big of a deal because there's a week in between games, but playing like an 8 p.m. kick one night against Michigan State and then the next Saturday playing at 9 a.m. against Illinois sort of deal, this is not that. you're playing at home, and then you're just making the short trip up the Pacific Northwest to take on Oregon. So I think maybe some of that is being a little overvalued. I think Oregon themselves has been a little overvalued by the betting market. So you and I are kind of lockstep here, where sit back and see what the market does, see if those 10s pop back, and you can grab it, because 10 is that key number in college football. But I would be strictly on the side of USC here.
Yeah, and to your point, I haven't put it in the account yet, but if we get to those double digits or more, you can expect me to fire on that. Where else did you want to look?
So there's a couple. I mean, you're on the sideline for K-State, Utah.
Yeah.
Utah, like 17, 52.5 at the open. You have a rooting interest here in that you need Avery Johnson to be incredible. What would go well for you would be a shootout in which Avery Johnson loses but throws 5 touchdowns, or accounts for at least 5 touchdowns.
Which I don't know if he's going to do against this Utah defense, by the way.
No, but I mean, Utah, obviously the college football playoff implications, whatnot, that's on the line. But I want to put that to the side very quickly, and we see this number here, 17.5. I want to throw our production crew for a whirl. How are we not all curious, all of us together as one, about what New Mexico has on the road against Air Force? That is tricky. New Mexico.
You love this New Mexico team.
I do.
Though.
I mean, yes, you told me that last week, and I had the audacity to go against them, but it worked out. Colorado State almost won the game, but it is a little tricky to have to go on the road, play up there at Air Force to get ready for the option in a short time. Mm-hmm. Remember, this is not a coaching staff that has played in the Mountain West, so it's not like you're, usually like some of these teams like UNLV and others, you've played Air Force once every other year or year. You're kind of used to the short turnaround and maybe getting ready, some of these staffs. But that's tough to get ready for an option like this. And again, we're talking about New Mexico being at the height of their power rating. This opened Air Force -1. We're up to New Mexico -3.5. Again, the market just really has this belief in New Mexico. It was a little wrong last week, and we saw this Lobos team is mortal.
You're taking the field goal and a half at home in Colorado Springs.
I'm just saying it's not off the radar yet. Let's just see what's going to happen. But you have to admit, that is somewhat of a tricky spot.
Yeah.
I mean, you play Colorado State. You're still alive for the Mountain West, and now you got to go face this option, even though they have not been good on the road. That is not the best situation to be in if you're New Mexico.
They've just been so bad. But listen, I told you.
Week, yeah.
I told you on Monday. I am done doubting you when it comes to Mountain West Conference football. So if you believe in the Air Force Falcons, come Saturday, I'm gonna roll with you. I'm gonna support you in this endeavor.
All right, I'll ask you a question that you asked me a couple of minutes ago, not on the air. Cal's going to cover against Stanford, right?
They should. But as I told you, I already have a bet in this game technically, because I took and gave out on this show the updated in-season win total over 6.5 on Cal. And this is the game you need. They close the season against SMU. I don't think that they're going to win that game. They have to win this one for me to cash that ticket. So I'm not going to have 2 bets on the same game. That's the way that my brain is computing this one. But yeah, I think Cal, I mean, this isn't like, yes, it's on the road. It's not a real road trip. They don't have to go anywhere. There is no home field advantage at Stanford at all. Mm-hmm. They're the better team. They've got the significantly better quarterback. Although, I mean, Stanford has been better since they made the QB change, but they are a very good team, and I think they should win and cover that game.
Okay.
That's my
I mean, it's a good game. I'm excited. I cannot wait to see. Oddly enough, Cal has become this weird team because of you that I've had to follow more often than not. And, I'm not going to make the case for Stanford. I wanted to, but
also,
I'm not. I can't.
To go back to Kansas State, Utah, I'll have a deeper dive on this game for you tomorrow. But I am very curious, where K-State is at mentally. And I will be talking to the coaching staff tomorrow before we're on the air. So I'll have a better sense of where things are at. But they could pack it in, right? What do they have to play for? It's been ugly. It's been up and down. Come on, buddy. Get the legs moving. But why has that not worked? What have been some of the struggles for Kansas State to where this season they had all the hype has come crashing down?
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Right now is the best time of year for bettors, and the all-new Boomer Sportsbook is bringing you the action. Football, hockey, hoops, and more. Use our code VSiN250 when you sign up for a Boomer's mobile account and they'll match your first deposit up to $250 in bonus bets. Plus, you get minus 105 prices on all pro football spreads every regular season game. Download the Boomer Sportsbook app today. Learn more at betwithboomer.com. Must be 21 or older. Terms and conditions do apply. Bet responsibly. Again, use that code VSIN250 when you sign up for a Boomer's mobile account. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Going to roll along one more game from West Coast Bias that we didn't hit on. My alma mater, the San Diego State Aztecs, laying a pretty hefty number at home against San Jose State. And you are fading my beloved Tex. Why?
I feel like, don't we just play against them when they're playing a passing attack? They can throw the ball more than 3 yards downfield.
Very fair point. It's a very fair point.
I think that might be the case. I think they're a good and solid defensive team, but as bad as this San Jose State squad has been, we at least know the way they run their offense, and they're going to throw the ball around the yard. And I think that San Diego State might be in for it. Now, what's going to be curious is we've experienced some of this. I believe the weather should be clearing up by this weekend. We've kind of had some of this weather out here, out in Las Vegas. It's like this remnants of this weird Pacific storm or whatever it is. But I think we're going to get cleared up. That, to me, is going to be one of the interesting factors here. And I actually think it kind of helps me a little bit in that it's going to maybe keep this game low scoring and down a bit. But I think San Jose State can stay inside of this number. Again, it's going to test a defense that has not been good, especially against some, we'll call them 2020-ish offenses that can actually test their secondary. I just think that we're probably at the top of the market with San Diego State. You and I both talked about this. I think we're on the same side last week. It was a good situation to play them last week against Boise, considering Boise's offense was really going to struggle. Maddox Madsen wasn't available. Again, a team that was akin to many of the offenses they had faced prior, in which they had really bottled up and beat up. This, I don't think, is going to be the case.
So a little chilly, 60 degrees at kickoff at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, but yes, no precipitation expected.
Good word. So, yes, I would I think they're live. I took 12.5 at San Jose State, so let's go.
Speaking of the Aztecs, how about them losing to Troy last night in college hoops?
Yesterday really wasn't great.
Lots of upsets in college basketball yesterday, though.
Yeah, so shout out to Adam Burke who came on with us. He was talking a lot about this. I mean, Maryland Eastern Shore was one of the teams.
We were joking about it, like Maryland Eastern Shore plus 17.5. They win.
Won outright at Longwood. San Diego State is a 15-point favorite, loses to Troy in double overtime. By the way, I put a link in here because I don't know if you're watching, and I know you're watching the other college hoops games. Did you see Miles Bird's game-tying shot at the end of regulation?
I did not.
Pull it up. It's in the rundown. You can watch it right now. It's only 5 seconds. But Miles Bird, San Diego State's best player, best scorer, ends up tying the game at the end of regulation to get it to overtime. Now, they say overtime is where dogs go to die, but this one did not. So Troy is about a 14.5, 15-point favorite.
That's pretty baller.
Yeah, pulls it off outright as about a near 10-1 money line underdog. Nevada lost at home as a 12.5-point favorite to UC Davis, and then Rhode Island plus 8.5 won on the road against Yale. So we got some pretty big upsets, but yesterday was about the premier games, I thought, and not great for Kentucky, man. Now 0-2 straight up and against the spread against their Power 4 opponents, so Louisville. And, of course, yesterday against Michigan State. They've been outscored in the 2 games by 25 points. And I know you were watching this. I would love to get your thoughts on it. I think a lot of people would look and say, well, 11 three-pointers, not really sustainable. Maybe if they play it again, it doesn't happen. I watched a team in Kentucky that was giving up a ton of open three-pointers, that was playing really lazy on the glass, that just looked like it didn't really want to defend at a very high level. That's troubling.
That's a great description. Disinterested was the word that came to mind for me watching them play defense in that game. And listening to Mark Pope speak after the game, he clearly thinks that his team is that way as well, and they have some more serious issues behind the scenes to clean up. Here is him post-game with Jeff Goodman.
Well, I don't want to take away anything from Michigan State because Tom is one of the great coaches in college basketball, and those guys played tough and together and hard and played well. Mostly just credit those guys, and we are facing a monumental challenge right now, and I'm excited to see if we can figure it out.
So I like to pick your brain on things that you are good at, and interviews are one of them. That was such a weird interview. Pope looks like his dog died. He doesn't look up the whole time. Doesn't look at Goodman until at one point Goodman asked some weird question about, like, essentially, are the players not playing up to the Kentucky brand or some weird thing like that at the end. But, I mean, holy smokes, dude, I get it. You've lost 2 games against power opponents, and they haven't particularly been close. But, like, let's chill a little bit.
Yeah, if you want to see the full interview, go over to Jeff Goodman or the Field of 68's Twitter so you can see the, like, full exchange and the questions and how they're asked. What I thought was kind of strange about it, because I mean, it's great that he gets that interview first and foremost. Mm-hmm. You could tell that they have a relationship for 2 reasons.
Sure.
One, that he gets that interview after a game like that. And 2, he really met him where he was at, maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and not in the tunnel. She means, like, emotionally, she met him where he was at.
like, yeah, he clearly, like, hand on his head, oh, I can't believe it. And that's the way that Jeff is asking the questions, too. He's like, this is, what was the first question he had? It was something along the lines, this is the most, he didn't say depressed, but he said, like,
this is the worst I've ever seen
this is the worst I've ever seen you after a game. And, like, I get, those interviews are tough to do. To begin with, so I don't want to, like, bag on it too much, but you can definitely tell that there was a little, maybe just meeting him where he was at is the best way I can describe it.
So the 2 losses again. You give up. You had a defensive rating of 125.2.
You're, like, cracking up still.
I mean, I thought it was hilarious. I get it. You know, your job is you take it seriously. Let's not act like
in the rundown like his mom just died.
Yeah, like let's not act like we lost a life
Excuse
here.
me. Oh my God, that got way darker.
No, I mean I think I put it in there. Like he acted like his mom died. Like let's relax. It's basketball here. But yeah, a defensive rating of 125.2 in the game against Louisville last night. 116.7. So this team is really struggling. Positive news for Kentucky is over the next 2 games, you have Loyola Maryland and Tennessee Tech before you get to take on North Carolina at home. So 3 straight home games, getting ready for North Carolina. Maybe you'll turn some things around. But the lack of effort defensively was astonishing to watch for Kentucky. And that's, to me, that was it. So we'll see if they turn things around. But they're going to be a very highly rated team. They were thought of very highly. And we're only 5 games into a very long season that does not end until March. So I don't think we're sounding the alarms. Those things looked fixable, but like when you're losing, it was a bunch of like off-ball stuff, like guys who are focused on the ball and not realizing that their dude's cutting baseline and going to the opposite corner, not boxing out on offensive rebounds and giving up second chance opportunities. All sorts of things is where they were getting killed yesterday. And by the way, good note for Michigan State. 2 things here. First off, how about this? The Spartans, I think I had this written down. They had made a grand total of 13 3-pointers in the previous 3 games before last night they made 11. So that was on the broadcast.
Yeah, Tom Izzo said in the post game before he was really asked like any specific questions about the numbers, he was like, I think we scored more 3-pointers today than we had combined on the season, and that's not a good thing.
Okay, I guess that's not a good thing. But Michigan State also, every single one of their opponents, they have held to under a point per possession. So this team looks just like one of these Izzo teams. It's going to be a pain in the rear end for a lot of groups.
So we had the 2 ranked-unranked games yesterday in the State Farm Champions Classic. We got 2 more ranked-unranked games coming up today. UConn, number 3 team in the country, hosting number 4 team in the country, Arizona. And then number 8, Illinois, against number 11, Alabama. 2.5 spread on that one. Illinois bet down from 3.5 to 2.5. The UConn Huskies bet out a little bit from 5.5 to 6.5 point favorites.
Yeah, Alabama.
And excuse me, like at the United Center in Chicago.
So
for
like a semi-home game. It's going to be in Illinois there, so it's not going to be too bad. Think about the stretch Alabama's been on, too, when you talk about their opponents. I know it's a little spread out here, but you're at Madison Square Garden against St. John's. You played Purdue at home last week. Now you're in Chicago to take on Illinois. All high-quality opponents. Illinois, meanwhile, has been sitting up with their feet up at home. This is the farthest away they've left from home in the early going of the season. I'm just going to be curious whether or not if Alabama, I think this is just who they're going to be, which is just this ham-fisted, we're just going to outscore opponents. And yes, you do that in every game, and that's the goal. But what I mean by that is we're maybe not going to get that many stops. Let's just see if we can try to outrun you to the final buzzer. They're right now floating in the 50th percentile in defensive rating. But if you look at really the way they've kind of not struggled but been pretty average on defense, this is a team that is just going to do exactly what you think. They're chucking, they're playing that analytically sound, taking a bunch of threes, getting to the rim, and trying to win in that fashion. You see what the total is. But I kind of understand why the market's coming in on Alabama for this point really quickly. If you look at the way Illinois has been playing, they are bombing away from 3, Stormy. 31.9% of their field goal attempts come at the rim, 13.5% in the paint. In other words, nearly 50% of their attempts are coming from beyond the arc. They are just shooting threes, and that's the way they've been playing in the early going. Maybe against a team like Alabama, you're going to do that a little bit, like you're going to kind of get to the rim a little bit more or try to. But with a team like Alabama, who is playing a little bit more sound analytically, trying to get to the rim a little bit more, if Illinois has a cold shooting night in a semi-neutral setting, think Alabama would be pretty live to get this done here today against Illinois.
You mentioned Nevada getting upset yesterday. They don't play again until Saturday, hosting UCSB. Are you going to target an over?
No, I was telling you, like, I wanted to bet their overs. I bet one. It was Louisiana Tech game. It went under, and then I just stopped the process, and then the next 4 went over.
And they're 4-1 to the over on the season. It always happens like that. Okay, we got to step aside. Best bets to close things out here coming up next. I've got some hockey thoughts, but maybe you just want to fade me at this point, the way my week is going. We'll be right back.
Lowe's knows that saving is always top of mind, especially this season. That's why we've picked some great deals for early Black Friday. Get free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit. More tools? Why not? Plus, we've got select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at $59.98 because it's never too early to think Christmas. Get Black Friday prices without the crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Wednesday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, Channel 158, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, the VSiN Watch app, wherever you're watching or listening. We appreciate it. And as always, we're broadcasting live from downtown Las Vegas at Circa Resort and Casino, where the ultimate Vegas weekend getaway could be yours with what Circa and VSiN are putting together. Right now, the first 100 new VSiN Pro annual subscribers who sign up using the promo code CIRCA are getting a free 3-night stay right here at Circa Resort and Casino, January 2nd through the 5th, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim during the final weekend of the NFL's regular season. You'll also save 50% off the monthly price and get a full year of VSiN Pro, daily best bets, exclusive betting splits, the AI-powered prop tools, 24/7 video, and every betting guide that comes out from here on out, including the college football playoff through next year's NFL season. Don't miss your shot at this exclusive Circa getaway. Sign up now, vsin.com/Circa, promo code Circa. I'm actually going to do a staycation at Circa soon. It's going to be fun. This is like, there's no better place to watch. If you are a sports fan or somebody who likes betting sports, there's no place better than right here.
I would agree. Do it every Sunday.
We do. Dude, it's packed on Sunday mornings, too. I'm a little bit sad that the overseas games are over because it's been really nice walking in at, like 8:30 in the morning and seeing the buzz that there is in the book here. It's been fun.
Yeah. I'm a little bit of a social butterfly every once in a while. I do enjoy the presence, just being around in environments like that. I would say I thrive in situations
I would
like
agree.
That.
You do.
And
you really bring it up a notch.
And there are no better places to be and to get into that juice than here.
A couple things. Now, I've mentioned a couple times today, the hockey picks didn't go great yesterday, and it's been like my last 2 weeks that have just not been going well. So I want to tell you now, tread lightly with my thoughts on the 4-game slate today. If you want to fade me, go for it. I'm still up 2 units on the season in the NHL, and we have all of our picks logged, and we keep track of them every day. And it's just the last 2 weeks have not been great. So are we going to bump the trend, or are we going to keep sliding? We'll see. But there are a couple angles, I think, for tonight that are interesting. I mentioned earlier the Flames and Sabres game. I think that, like I mentioned, it looks too easy on the surface, which is why I think the Flames are getting played in this spot. Because Calgary is in such a bad spot. It seems so obvious to lay the price with Buffalo or take them in regulation, do whatever you want to do. Team total over maybe for the Sabres. The Flames are already the worst team in the league. They're on the second half of back-to-back on the road, backup goalie. Sabres are scoring a bunch of goals lately, and they beat the Red Wings and Oilers their last two. I know the Sabres aren't a great team either, but it just, like, everything about this game, when I just looked at it on the surface, screamed Buffalo to me, to the point where I was like, maybe I just need to stay off of this because it seems too obvious and the market's going the other way.
But
Buffalo teams total over 3.5 is a decent plus money price. Plus 110 I saw as high as out there, so maybe that's a way to look. I was also looking at this Oilers Caps game, targeting some Alex Ovechkin shot on goal props, maybe even an anytime goal here too. He's gotten the puck in the back of the net 3 of the last 4 games, but the shot on goal prop, so you can go over 2.5 at minus 140, alt over 3.5 at plus 170. The goal is around plus 160. he only had one shot on goal against LA on Monday. Did score, by the way. Hasn't been firing on net a bunch this season. But as you look through the game log, he's had 3 in 5 of the last 8, facing an Oilers team that gives up a ton of shots per game, a ton of high danger chances, 22 the other night against the aforementioned Buffalo Sabres. And it's an opponent that he has historically taken a lot of shots against, too. And sometimes you might look for like point production and goal scoring production, or how they perform against a certain goaltender as maybe those different angles that you want to buy in on. But shots on goal was something that he, even though he hasn't had as much point production against the Oilers, has consistently been firing on net in those games. And just looking through the game logs, last February, the last time they played, 9 shots on goal, 14 attempts. He did score a bunch in that game. And I can't remember what account I saw this note on, and I went back to fact check some of the numbers here. The shots on goal, the last 8 times he's played, 9 times, 9, 3, 7, 3, 5, 5, 5, 8, 9 attempts, 14, 11, 4, they're always in that range. And so even though it's juicy at over 2.5, I think he gets at least 3. And I just liked laddering it up a little bit to get a plus money price if you want to bring down the unit size on that one, just to see if you can kind of bolster the bankroll
so
where he's at.
Over
on that.
2.5 shots on goal for Ovechkin? Is that what I'm getting here? Okay.
Over 2.5, all over 3.5. Okay. And debating whether or not I want to throw an anytime goal in there as well. Okay. The Oilers, this game is so interesting to me, JVT.
Yep.
Just when you thought the Oilers were starting to work their way out of this bad start, they just have an absolute no-show at Buffalo Monday night. And those games tied at 1 early in the second period, and then Buffalo just scores 4 unanswered, to the point where the color commentator on the broadcast, when they went to the empty net, goes, well, I mean, that's how it's been all night. What's the difference? Mm-hmm. Just ripping Stuart Skinner when he comes out of the net. So I think last year when we talked about the Oilers a lot in the postseason, we were really giving them a lot of credit for how their depth had stood up, and they've done nothing this year. The bottom unit has been outscored. So the bottom 6 for the Oilers has been outscored 30-9 with McDavid and Draisaitl off the ice. That's terrible.
So how bad does this get? Am I betting them to miss the postseason?
I keep thinking as they get healthier, and Zach Hyman is back now, as they get healthier, they're going to...
450 on the no for make the playoffs.
I just keep... in my brain, I believe they're going to work out the kinks and get out of this, because they always have. Mm-hmm. But it does not look good. And it's honestly really frustrating as somebody who has wanted to bet and back the Oilers. You just can't. And it's year after year. It's the same stuff. It's the defense and it's the goaltending. It's the defense and it's the goaltending every year.
I mean, for what it's worth, obviously we're early in the season. They're also only a point out of the last playoff spot right now. So, it's not like they're
There are a lot of bad teams as well right now.
Well, the other question that I would ask, too, is, do you believe in these teams? Chicago's 10-5-4. Will they be able to keep this up? Because they're in control of one of those wild card spots. Seattle is up there as well, again, with only a point lead on them. I can understand this is, dare I say, is this like a Chiefs? We were talking about the Chiefs and the way the market's been pricing them despite their struggles. We're much earlier in this portion of the season for Edmonton, but feels like the same sort of gravitational pull of, no, we've seen Edmonton bounce out of these things, and we'll probably see it again.
That's how I feel, I feel like they'll work their way out of it. The other game I kind of like the Wild as a home dog. I'm not sure if I can get there yet. I might, though. They're hosting, the Carolina Hurricanes. Canes on Monday beat the Bruins 3-1. But it was despite, that was their 3rd game in 4 nights. They have to travel to Minnesota now, only had the 1 day off in between. So I think it's kind of a tough spot physically for them. The Wild, meanwhile, are really rested. They've had back-to-back strong games. They beat Vegas in overtime. They had a 2-0 shutout against the Ducks, who have shown to be a really good team to start this year. Did come up short in overtime to the Sharks, but generally speaking, after the bad start for this team, they've won 4 of 5. They've given up 3 total goals during that 5-game stretch, playing really strong defensive hockey. Been home at a week, haven't played since Sunday. Rest advantage, playing good defense, and plus 150. I think this is just kind of like a price play in my brain that I like getting such a good number on a dog at home that's playing better hockey lately against a team like the Canes. I get that it's hard to click the button in the app to want to make that bet, but something that I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up on today, even if it's just a small bet.
Canes are going to do this again, huh? Am I going to have another hockey postseason where I'm like, every number says this Canes team is great?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm totally
It's the Rod Brindamore special. What are some of your bets today? Close things out for us.
So for me, we've had quite a few. Let's go to the NFL first. Colts plus 3.5 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Browns and Raiders under 36.5. And a Steelers-Falcons teaser. How about this? plus 8.5 and plus 7.5. So we're going to go with two teams that might be throwing out some backups this week, but some low totals as well. I think they can stay inside of it regardless of the quarterback situation there. So that's NFL. College football, San Jose State against San Diego State, plus 12.5. And 2 in the association tonight. We will go with Pacers, plus 1.5 against the Charlotte Hornets, and Rockets money line, minus 120 on the road against the Cavaliers. By the way, some notes, news, injuries, things like that. The Golden State Warriors are playing absolutely nobody, it looks like. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler are all not available for this trip out there to Miami. So if you're wondering why we have swung so far in another direction, that is the big reason why Miami. How about this? Let's see, up to a 10.5-point favorite here at Circa with a total of 233. Kelly Bidlin has laid 5 with the Miami Heat. Godspeed, because closing line value in the NBA this season has not mattered.
Also want to thank everybody, as always, for chiming in on the conversation with us today. Eric Myers tweeted at us, said it was interesting learning about the mock CFP selection process.
Yep.
Glad we could give a little bit of insight into how that works. If you missed any of that conversation, you can always download Money Moves wherever you get your podcasts. It was the first and second block of the show. So if you download hour 1 of Money Moves, that's where you can find all of that. And then Jason, to close us out, said, question for Stormy. So when you wear a coat inside, do you have another one to put on when you go outside? Or do you just freeze? No, I just roll with this coat. It's an indoor-outdoor situation. I think this works well.
I paid you a very nice compliment. I said it looked warm.
Thank you. That's what every girl wants to hear about her fashion. Looks warm. Looks nice? Good fuzzies? I don't know.
Looks good.
Cute is another word. Looks cute. Looks nice. That said, appreciate y'all hanging out with us as always. Have a great day. Good luck with your bets. Keep it locked right here on VSiN. Follow the money with Mitch and Paul coming up next. It's a Sal Pal day. You know it's going to be good.